My name is Isabel da Rosa. I'm going to do my presentation in English. And the reason is not because I come from the Commission, it's because my Portuñol includes two words, buenos dias and gracias. So it's really lousy, and I don't want you to suffer so much with my Portuguese. I also want to say that it's a pleasure to be here for so many reasons, but the main reason is because yesterday when I landed in the airport here in Madrid, I had this feeling a little bit of coming home. So it's really great to be here today with you. My presentation today aims two things. First of all, to give you a brief overview what is the electronic procurement situation in Europe, and also a few words on the future vision we have for electronic procurement. So the agenda will cover these 4 points, and let's start with the context. So the context, as most of you know for sure, we have new directives. We call it new directives because the transposition is going on, but in fact they are from 2014. The first 3 are regarding the public procurement, utilities and concessions. They are from February 2014. And the last one is regarding the electronic invoice that is from April 2014. The milestones regarding the new directives, the most important for the electronic procurement, you can see it is on this slide. I hope that you can see it well. They cover since the enter into force of the directives in April 2014 until November 2019. That is the date for the implementation of the electronic invoice. We are here in May 2017, and from these dates I want to highlight April 2016. In April 2016 was the deadline for the member states to implement or to transpose the directives. Not everybody has been complying with that date. In fact, today, after 1 year, there's still quite a few member states that have not transposed yet. That includes Spain and includes Portugal, for example. In April 2016, we also have 2 important milestones. One is the launch of the electronic ESPD that you have heard for sure. That was also the launch for the new version of the inserted system that I'm going to mention in the next slides, and also the mandatory phase for the e-notification and for e-access. You can see the same milestones, but here from a different perspective. They are presented, they are presented on the life cycle of the electronic procurement process. You can see that in 2017, April, the e-submission should be mandatory for all the CPBs. In 2018, April also should have only ESPD on the electronic format. And in October 2018, all the contracting authorities should be using e-submission mandatorily. In November 2019, we have the invoice milestone. So what are the services provided by the Commission regarding electronic procurement? In fact, they are 3. TED, of course, I don't need to mention, everybody knows TED, I'm assuming, is the system for the publications of the notices. We have Vicertis, that is an online database that lists these eligibility criteria and the means of proof. And we have the electronic service for creating and submitting the European Single Procurement Document. As you know, a structured self-declaration. Also a note, this system that was developed by the Commission is planned to be phased out in April 2019. What is the situation in Europe regarding electronic procurement? We launched due to the directives, and not only, we want to have also an update photograph what is the situation in Europe. We launched a questionnaire, a survey, a very short survey last summer. It covers 7 topics regarding the electronic procurement, and we've got the reply from 27 member states. In fact, only Austria did not reply to us. You can see within this picture a summary of the phases that are available above, for the procedures above the thresholds in all the 28 member states except Austria did not reply. So you have the phases here from the notice until the payment, and you can see, for instance, that the situation in Spain is quite good. Only evaluation is not available for the procedures above the thresholds. Here, the same information, but from a different perspective. I think this graphic is really interesting because it shows that from those 8 phases, more than half of the countries cover already more than half of the phases. In fact, we have 63% of the countries cover already more than 5 phases of the electronic procurement life cycle. About the functionalities, here we have identified 5 tools or functionalities within the electronic procurement. Those tools or functionalities are the e-signatures, the hit catalogs, DPS, auctions, and contract registers. The situation is also, from my point of view, very good for the time being, and you can see here the situation of Spain. Spain has available e-signatures, e-catalogs, and Spain also have an e-contract register, although the solution from Spain only provides aggregate information, doesn't provide individual information. Again, from this perspective, you can see that more than half of the member states, in this case, if I do remember, 55% covers more than 3 functions or tools already in Europe. What about the registers of supplies? Here the situation is not so good, but in this case also Spain is one of the 5 that cover all the 3 areas. So in Spain we have a national register for public works, for services and for goods, but we have 16 countries in Europe that have no solution at all. This one for me was a very big surprise. The question is about if you have one single solution for electronic procurement or you have more than one. And I was, at least personally, I was not expecting this. So 70% of the member states have one single solution for electronic procurement. For me, it was quite surprising. What about the future? The future, we have already some indicators because many member states are applying funds for electronic procurement. We have 7 member states that are already connecting their own systems to e-certis. We have quite a few member states already developing and putting in place their electronic service for implementing the SPD. And we also have an increasing number of countries providing and connecting to TED by an electronic form, being a e-sender, what we call e-sender. Digital public procurement is, of course, as we heard this morning, a case of digital transformation in the public sector. And I was surprised with the stories I heard yesterday at dinner. I was talking with quite a few colleagues, one from Portugal, another from Spain, and another countries, Austria also. And I was amazed with the stories they were telling for connecting the procurement systems to other systems and what they can do with that. And the point that I want to highlight here is this. We are at such a moment in the history of our life and the history of the humankind that everything is happening very fast. And in terms of digital, we don't have any idea what can happen tomorrow. It's amazing what is happening, and I believe that the public sector, the public administration, has an important role here. We cannot be distracted. We have to act, because if we don't decide to implement these solutions and to be more efficient and to be better, if we don't decide that, somebody will decide by us. Because the fact that the world is all connected, we'll have to change sooner or later. And if we don't make our own decisions, we're going to change according to the decision of others. So for the public sector to implement these, I think is really a matter of survival. As I heard this morning, the Subsecretary of State mentioned, more than the IT tools is the information that we are concerned. And I think governments, special governments, and many institutions in the public sector have not realized the value of data. They don't understand yet the treasure they have by having such information. Structured data enables them to take decisions based on facts. And you know, as I know, because I'm also a civil servant, I'm a civil servant from Portugal, that most of the decisions are taken by opinions. Somebody thinks that is better this way, somebody thinks that is better another way. But we don't have this choice anymore. We have to take decisions based on facts. To have data on public procurement gives us the possibility to take a decision that we really know that is for improving. It's not because we think it's best. This information is crucial for us to have better public administration in the future. So a policy that is a data-driven policy is happening everywhere. All the governments are trying to make a lot of efforts to have more structured data on their systems, to have business intelligence tools, to have data analytics, to have data mining, all these buzzwords on information from public procurement. OOP stands for Only Once Principle, is also starting to happen and is one of the main goals in Europe. Some member states are already starting to implement these. This represents the connection of these three pieces, and the main goal is, for example, that economic operator or a supply, for instance, they have, instead of them to ask the tax department for the declaration as they pay their taxes and then give to another contracting authority that also comes from the public administration, that the contracting authority can ask this declaration directly to the tax departments. Of course, many countries, they state that there are many legal issues to solve. That is true. And some of them already solve these, and they don't have any legal issue. So it's a matter of history, it's a matter of culture, but this is changing. And in Estonia, all the information from the economic operators is available for all the contracting authorities. They cannot exchange the information, but they can see the information. And this is very important. So they can see the information about the criminal records, even about the criminal records, about the social security, about the taxes, and so on. Also very important, for those member states that are already planning and implementing solutions for the electronic ESPD, they are also already interconnecting their solutions with the existing pre-qualification systems. For the suppliers, exactly the situation I was speaking on the previous slide. That means that the solutions that are being developed today by public entities are not solutions that are, as to say, with a narrow view. They are not just doing what is on the directives. Governments are really going much further than what the milestones that were mentioned on the directives as mandatory. And I think this is a very positive overview for what is happening in Europe. This is my presentation. I'm available for any questions. Thank you so much for your attention.